Hi, everybody. I'm Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. So, when we were in Chile, there were sea lions everywhere, particularly when we were in Valdivia in Chile. And I took a bunch of photos of them on their big floaty platforms and hanging out on a submarine and just climbing up onto basically anything they could climb up onto. They try to limit what they can climb up onto, but how they got up on the side of that submarine, I could not figure out. Anyway, I took a bunch of pictures and I took some video of this, particularly this one guy, and scratching himself. So I focused in on him, and I am going to paint him today in my little sketchbook that I am trying to, at least for now, dedicate to paintings of things we saw in Chile. And I'm going to start. He's so graphic. He's got such darks and lights that when you really blow it up. Let me see if I can do this on my phone so you can see it without a reflection. When you blow it up, he almost looks like a gouache painting. Let me go to the colored version, and you can see better what I'm talking about. He just struck me as like a chunky kind of gouache painting of this, like the way his foot is and the way the water is. And anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. And I thought I should paint it in my book. And if that sounds like something fun, then please stick around. And if you could hit the like button, that's always appreciated. And if you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a couple squares over here on this other side of the page, and I'm going to do a black and white kind of study. And then I'm going to do a color study over here, and then I'm going to paint him. This video will probably be sped up a little bit, maybe a lot of it, because it could take a while, and I don't want it to be ridiculously long. So just trying to find a nice pencil to draw a box with. So let's do one down here. That's about right. That's what I did. I think actually I'm going to do it a little bit bigger if I can get away with it. Don't really need it exact. That is not what I'm trying to do. Just trying to maximize my space here. Yeah, I can get another one in here. Dum, dum, dum. Let's do it this way, and then I'll know where I'm at. Okay, there's a couple rough boxes. Now I think I'm just going to try and do this with paint and not worry about getting a perfect drawing in first. I just want to kind of get an idea of the darks and lights. And I am not against using some colored pencil on this. I've got them all ready because of the nature. And I don't want to paint him in gouache. I want to paint him in watercolor. I tend to get very picky with gouache, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to paint him in watercolor and try and keep them as loose as I can with, and still get the lights and darks. So I'm just going to get this palette here, and I'm just going to use my, I'm trying to find a spot to exist, neutral, not neutral gray. Is it neutral gray? No. Neutral tint, that's what it's called. I'm going to just use neutral tint. And I'm going to just kind of get him in here a little bit. Now what I did do is I took my photo and I did it in black and white so that I kind of would have an idea of where my darks and lights are, a little bit more than I would if I just was looking at the color. I'm just going to get him in here roughly. I have two pictures of this sea lion close up, and I had the wrong one pulled up. So it was like, this is not right. What's going on? Very, very similar, but not the same. He's kind of got his one flipper underneath him right over here. And the other flipper he's scratching himself with. That's how I knew I had the wrong picture. I'm like, there's something wrong with this flipper. It's not right. I told you I took a bunch of pictures. Flipper's kind of bent behind here. And his nose is pointier. It's like I had studied this picture and then it just wasn't the same. Because it wasn't the same. Silly me. I'm going to need him to dry a little bit so I can do a little bit more on him. It does help to do a value study, even if it's not perfect or sorting everything out. It gets you familiar with what you're trying to paint. Okay, he does have a shadow off to the side here. Under him a little bit. I'm going to get that in. And I probably will put a little bit of the background in, mostly because I want to put whiskers on him, and if there's nothing behind him to see the whiskers differentiated from, then it's not very exciting. But I'm not putting the whole wharf and pier kind of underneath part in here. That's more detail than I want to do. So we're just going to do that real lightly, and this is even lighter in this part than this is up here. The wharf was a lighter color. Okay, he needs to dry a little bit. So I'm going to hit him with a hairdryer and do this little bits of detail that I want to do on that one, and then we'll move to the other one. He's a little bit chubbier in his face on this from my wrong photo snafu. But look how much lighter all that dried. So we're going to get back in there. Because it's not very helpful. It's not showing me the darks. I want to get the light shining right there. So I know to do that if I'm going to refer back here. All right. Now I'm going to hit him with hairdryer real quick. His shape is off, but that was part of that was my picture problem. He's got his whiskers. He's got the highlights on his foot. His flipper. Contrast there. Spots here. White in there. Try to straighten his face out a little better. Where's my other one? Okay, that's close enough. Now let's do a color study. And we're going to do that on this page. In the other box, I have some colors I was playing around with, so we're going to start with that. Hopefully I can get his shape a little better this time. He's got a reddish undertone. And I have this neutral gray that works nicely as his darker tones. And I also have yellow ochre. That's the other one. So this is a mixture of yellow ochre and graphite gray. Okay. Kind of just gives me an idea of what I'm doing. Some darker marks. Let me hit that with a hairdryer and do a little bit of the highlights, and then we'll move on. I keep wanting to, fiddle with it, but that's not the idea of these. Oh, cannot get this to write. I think the paper just needs to be just bone dry, and it's not. Catch those really nice highlights on his flipper here. I'm not worried about getting them in on the final drawing. There's lots of tricks I can pull out. That's good enough. Oh, there's a little more light right under his chin I want to make sure and get. So let's move on to the big guy and see if these two studies are helpful when it comes to the full-on painting. I keep wanting to go back and fiddle with them, but trying to stop myself. So I've already sketched him in over here. You have noticed, I'm sure. I'm going to just lift some of that up with this eraser. A little more detailed drawing. But I like the colors I've got going, so that's good. Now I'm going to just go ahead and paint this without talking. If I feel like I really need to tell you something, I will jump in there. But let's get in close and try and get it to where you can really see what I'm doing. I am using a little bit of gouache. Obviously, if I was painting this in person, I wouldn't have gone to all the trouble of all the studies, but I thought it would be interesting because of the way he was so lit with shadows and highlights and stuff. Okay, I could keep fussing with this, but I think it's time to throw on some colored pencils and call it a sketch. So I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer. I want to make sure it's very, very dry. Cannot say for sure I won't throw more paint on it, but right now this is where we're going from. Okay, so let's just set these aside a little bit. I have my polychromos that I'm trying to work with here. Let's see if I can get it to go. I think what I need to make that one pop is some blue underneath it. Which of course I did not expect to need. See if I can just get it with this. That is as dark as I can make it. But once again, I keep going back to my blue because I think it needs the contrast. Of the blue for his face to pop. For that to be able to stand out. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, like button would be great. And I really appreciate you being here. I really do. And if you would like to, please check out my Etsy shop where I've printed my artwork along with cute little monsters and other fun stuff for sale. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.